Hello, hello, everyone. Mrs. Deveter here. Hello, hello, friends. Come on in the room. We are now live here for another chat with a designer with Mrs. Deveter on Crochet Foundry Live. I hope that you all are seeing me. I might need to share because something funky was going on with our connection on StreamYard where it wasn't sharing to the groups. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this and share it to the groups. Hello, hello. Let me know who you are and where you are coming in from so I can show you some Mrs. DeVita love. Let me know. Let me know who you are. Let me mute that. I'm sharing on the plate to the places. Um, share to a page. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to share to a group. Why is it not letting me do that? If you all are in the Crochet Foundry group or anything like that, please do share this there. For some reason, the StreamYard isn't connected and it's not being friendly to me. So hello, hello, Cincinnati, Antigua. Keith, you are amazing for always coming and hanging out with us. I really appreciate you. Hello to you, Yolanda in Montana. We got West Virginia, Orlando. Hey, Cheryl in New York. We have Mexico, Mississippi. Who else is here? Hey, Miss Karen is here. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. I have the pleasure of chatting. If I'm looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my other screen so I can share this. I am chatting with another one of my favorites. Like, I have people that are my favorite, y'all. All of y'all are my favorites. But there are some people that I just love chatting with. And this is one of those people. Now, I'm posting it on here. Let's see if it'll show up. I don't know. Oh, yeah, I think that worked. Okay. I am no longer distracted. I am here and I'm chatting with my friends about this amazing designer that is in this issue of the Crochet Foundry magazine, the August issue. Last week, I had the pleasure of chatting with Jamie from Parlez-Vous Crochet. She is amazing and she's actually going to be in Pittsburgh this weekend doing a fiber festival of some sort this weekend that she's going to be at. So if you are in the Pittsburgh area, definitely find out about that. You might be able to get to meet her live and purchase some of her earrings because she's going to be a vendor there. But today I get to chat with the lovely Kelly. I am so excited about all that he's doing. I told you guys our last interview that we met at, what's the name of the thing? CGOA in New Orleans 22. Time is just like speeding by. He was sitting on one of the couches and he was crocheting and I was like, what are you making? That is amazing because it's all cabley and he's just amazing. So we get to chat with Kelly today. I want to wait until we have at least 15 people in the room. We only have 12. So y'all come on in. Let people know that I'm live. Share the link. Share, share, share. Where is Ola Joe? Where is Chris? Where y'all at? Come on. I need my people. Come on in the room and let folks know that we are live and we're going to be chatting. I have somebody here from Phoenix, Arizona. I hope you all are doing well. Those of you on the West Coast, I know, that there were some storms and some crazy things that were going on with the weather there. So I hope that everybody is doing okay. So just want to send some love your way with this crazy, crazy weather. Some places it's super hot. Some places it's like raining. Other places across the globe it's cold. Like the world is just an amazing place. So I hope everyone is being safe and taking good care of yourselves. Come on in the room. I'm up to 13. I'm just waiting for 2 more people because I think everybody deserves an audience when they are online. So come on in, share, share, share. Please, please, please share. If you are a member of the Fun with Furls group, please make sure that you share this there. For some reason, I was unable to do so. So please share, share, share. Let people know that we're live and we're going to be talking to a designer in now. Kelly, you ready? I'm bringing you on. Say hello to Kelly, everyone.
Hello. Hi. And I
Yes.
saw somebody who already commented that I'm super fun, and I'm glad to hear that. Well, okay, maybe they just said I'm fun, but I'm super fun as well. So yeah,
You are indeed super fun.
thank you.
So happy to have you back with me. What is new? What you got going on? I know that you're in this issue, the
Mhm.
August issue of the Crochet Foundry magazine, with some more of your incredible cables about what you got going on. Fall is almost here. What you got? What you got?
Okay, all right. So let's see. Well, I obviously am very hello. I thank you, Sarah. I'm obviously very excited about the one that is in the August issue. It was a fun piece. I'll talk a little bit more about it in detail. But for the upcoming fall stuff, I have a hat pattern. If you've been following me on Instagram, I have a hat that I am currently still kind of in the testing phase. Technically, the deadline already passed, but I've been really busy. So I have not had a chance to actually sit down like with all the tester notes and things like that to actually like do it. And I'm still right now even like uploading a file for the tutorial video with it. So I'm waiting, and it was a huge file. So it's just taking a while for me to do, but it's the very last one. Once I do that, I'm able to edit the tutorial video and finally be able to get that up onto YouTube so that I can launch this thing. So, because I want to get that hat pattern out soon, because I know cold weather, it doesn't feel like it now, but it will be happening, especially for people farther north from where I live, where it will start to cool down in September. Whereas down here, October is kind of usually when we start seeing that cool weather. So there's that. There's the hat. I'm also currently in my hands working on a special project that is going to be a kind of weird. It's not a standard sweater. It's like a tunic style sweater, which is not usually everybody's thing, but it has to do with like Anglo-Saxon rune work and stuff like that. So it's very like Renaissance fair, medieval fair, like kind of style. And I'm making it using some very, it's non-superwash wool, which here in Oklahoma is very difficult to wear because it is too warm. But I'm actually making it for somebody I met on Instagram who does really beautiful pictures, and he's going to model and photograph it for me. And he lives up in New Hampshire where it gets cold all the time. So he said non-superwash should be just fine. So there's that. So perfect for those of you who have that like fall and winter weather idea. Then I also have another sweater that's coming out in Crochet Foundry, and it's going to be in the November issue, and I'm so excited. It has seriously been like everybody who's gotten to see it, because of course I have to keep it secret, but everybody who has, like when they see me work on it, people at Crochet Foundry, people like that, they like jaw drop. Like they love it so much. Like I've gotten so much positive, like more so than any of the other things I've ever designed. And I'm like, how am I going to be able to make anything better than this in the future? I don't know. But I know that once it comes out, like my testers are all like, oh my God, this is my favorite sweater to make. And
Oh,
I'm so excited for it. But I designed it in 2021, 2022. Like when I actually had already finished it when you and I met, but I've had to keep it secret this whole time because Crochet Foundry was like, we want that in our magazine for the fall of 2023. And I was like, that's over a year away. And I had to like keep it a secret this whole time. And I'm like, oh, I want to tell people about it. But so yeah, so there's that one. I have a couple of other sweaters, but they're not for the fall and winter. They're like for way next year. I'm not. So this upcoming fall, hat, sweater for Crochet Foundry, this rune sweater, that's pretty much my 3 big projects that are going on right now. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love it. So can you, for those of us who don't know about all the for me,
Yeah.
what is non-superwash? What is that?
Okay, all right. So there are 2 different types of way that wool is prepared. So you can either have a superwash or a non-superwash. Superwash is when they chemically treat it to where it won't felt from heat and moisture. So it kind of like it smooths out all of those fibers, which gives you kind of this extra lofty, soft wool. So if you ever see like superwash wool, that's the type that you can throw in a washing machine. And if you accidentally throw it in a dryer, it's not going to ruin the wool. Non-superwash wool is your standard, traditional, very woolly texture. It's a lot more rustic. It's more rough. Really high quality wool. It's still rough and toothy, but it's still got like kind of that soft, lofty bounce to it. But it is much warmer, much thicker feeling. Like And if you think of like, what does wool actually feel like? That's going to be the one that's like, you probably don't want that one next to your skin unless
Gotcha.
you're just like really tolerant of it. But it's really perfect for like really cold weather makes. Like if you live like anywhere where there's any kind of like long-term snow or ice or anything like that, this type of wool is great because it's moisture wicking and it's very like, it traps heat all like really, really well, more so than superwash wool will. Yeah.
Got
But
you.
you have to hand wash it.
That was going to be my
Yeah.
next question. How do you take care of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's hand wash, air dry only. But actually, I learned this when I bought a non-superwash wool sweater from Ireland. The lady who was selling it to me, she was like, you basically never have to wash it. She was like, non-superwash wool is naturally antimicrobial and moisture wicking and like kind of basically just stays clean on its own. Every once in a while, she was like, I would just kind of spritz it with maybe like some fabric refresher, like Febreze or something, and then just let it kind of dry. And it was fine. Like she was like, I don't know the last time I washed one of my wool sweaters. And she's like, and they always smell great and everything. I myself would be like, I would still wash it occasionally using like a wool wash, but you hand wash it, let it air dry, and then it's good to go. And then you don't have to do that for a long time.
Cool. See, you come on lives with Mrs. Deveter and you learn things because I really just didn't know. I had the pleasure of chatting with some folks from Edmonton last year and earlier this year, and they were talking about the processing of wool and how it's done and all the ins and outs. And it's just so interesting to me, like how many different breeds of sheep there are. Like these know all this information. I'm just like, what? I never knew. Like you don't really think about that,
Yeah.
I also think it's really cool that as a crocheter, a lot of people get into the fibers and the wash and it isn't when they're talking about knitting. So I think it's really cool that as a crocheter, you can speak to, all of that fiber stuff. Now, for these patterns, I know that some of them are super secret, but for the one you're doing, the non-super wash, what stitch are you using? Are you doing a single crochet? I'm just curious about that.
Oh, of course. Yes. Okay. So I can actually I was working on it a little bit earlier. I'll pull it here. Okay. So the main stitch is actually a herringbone double crochet. So So a herringbone double crochet is done to where you've got this kind of like lean going on. So it leans one particular way. So you'll work one direction and then you'll work the opposite direction. And it creates that like herringbone look where you've got like I'm trying to focus on this camera here, where it like does this thing. And so it creates like that herringbone style. So that's the main stitch. Then you have up here in the shoulder area, of course, I have to incorporate cables because why not? So in the shoulder area, I've got like, it's kind of hard to see. There we go. I've got like some just front post double crochet stitches, but that's also where the decreasing is happening to shape the shoulders. And there are 3 of them. So it's kind of like a sort of raglan style. So you've got like the 2 points on either side of the raglan and then 1 point along the middle of the shoulder. And eventually the 3 of them are going to meet and then form like a braided cable up to the neck is the plan. I have had to rework the shoulders of this particular thing like 8 or 9 times. Like all my friends at my knit night have seen me work through it, try it on, and I'm like, it doesn't look right. Like I can't figure out how to get these freaking shoulders to fit right. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So this is, I think this is the one I'm going to stick with because I think it looks good. It fits well. I've tried it on a couple of different times and it seems to be like shaping over. It's going to be blocked to fix that. So there's that. Then I don't want to reveal like the whole thing, but I am going to show you kind of like a quick sneak peek of it. But like, there's an example of like some of the rune stuff. And these are like, if you ever see like Viking stuff or anything like that, those are what it's talking about. It's like these real like cool letters that people like used to use back in the day. And then I use like just front post stitches, like front post doubles, trebles, things like that.
Okay, front post double, and then color work because you're changing colors in there.
Yeah, and it's done Fair Isle style, so it's got like the floats on the back, so like you just carry the gray throughout. So like, thank you very much, Catherine. And yeah, let's see if you need wash. I don't have to say for wool though. Soap you can use that doesn't have to be rinsed out. Oh yeah, it's Jessica, the wool wash. That's the like if you get like the Eucalyptus wool wash or something. you don't have to rinse it. You just soak it and then you squeeze out all the water. I run it through like the drain cycle of my washing machine where it like spins really, really fast. And that squeezes out all the water without any felting. Like I've never had any problem with that. And Yolanda, thank you. Yes, and runes. Yeah, like I'm very excited. Like the runes part is like, I'm worried that's going to deter people, but I'm like, if you ever do anything where there's like an alphabet, like you're using letters, like just English letters, like normal, you can do this as well. It's just, they're just less familiar letters. So that's what I'm really excited about, is people being able to do that. Now, my poor tech editor, I'm worried about how she's going to, because it's a very long pattern, like just lots and lots of explanation for how to do a lot of these things because of like all the different pieces that go into it. But yeah, she's got a lot of work cut out for her. But yeah.
Sure
anyway, sorry, that was a lot of words. So, yeah.
So back to the runes a little bit. What does it say? Like,
okay, so the person I'm making it for, it is okay. So it's a mix of a couple of English words, but then there's one that's like a an old English word that means fairy. So it's called Alf, and so Alf meant like elf or fairy, and so it's only 3 letters long, whereas fairy in English would be like. Right. Yeah. And then one of the words says alien. And so like, cause I guess like he likes aliens, or he's like sees himself as a come out of this world. And then the first one is that it says gay.
Okay.
So it's like the gar, the ak, and the ir rune. And so like it spells out the word gay. So it says gay alien fairy. So it's like, so like anybody who asks, he's going to be like straight face, like deadpan, just be like, it says I'm a gay alien fairy. And it says it 3 times around. So it's like, yeah. But you thank you, Sarah. So obviously you don't have to use those kinds of words. And actually in my pattern, I give suggestions for like, there's some old English words you could use. Like I give like some common words people used a lot, or like different sentences or phrases that like people would use, and like suggestions for how to like plan that kind of thing out. A friend of mine, like she even said, like if she did it, like we looked up all kinds of things, and she figured like, we figured out like we could call her a wool witch, which means a fiber witch, or like a wool witch. And it's like 5 letters each in words, and it's like, and the size she would do is divisible by 10. So she was able to be like, I can fit that around, like, you know, however many times 10 goes into it. And so she was like, I could have something that literally calls myself, I'm a fiber witch, and it goes around like, so like, it's a fun thing where like you can make it say anything you want to, and people are going to look at it and be curious, because they're like, it's not a regular alphabet. They're just like, what does that say? They're always going to, it's a conversation starter. Yes, exactly.
I love that. I think that clothes should be a conversation starter, especially if you've handmade it, like, because everything has a story behind it. And I think that's super cool. So in your pattern, can you share the name of it yet, or no? That's still.
Oh, yes. It's not a secret. This is just like an independent pattern I'm doing. It's going to be called the Runic Tunic, because it's style with runes on it. Yeah. And so like that's, yeah, but it's still a ways. I've got to finish the shoulders. I've got to do the sleeves. I've got to ship it. I've got to have the person modeling it, take the photographs. I've got to do all that. I've got to have it tech edited. It's a while away from being ready for people to start actually packing. I'm not even in the testing phase with it yet. I'm worried about trying to find testers for it. So, because they're going to look at it and be like, that is so hard. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, and thank you, Catherine. Yes. I do love coming up with these fun names. Like I came up with the idea for the Runic Tunic actually like last year, but it was like, I don't know if that's ever going to come to fruition. I just don't know that it's ever going to happen. And then suddenly, like, I'm talking to the person modeling it. I tell him the idea and he loves it. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I can make this. And then I saw the Viking Fiber Company, which is the hand dyer out of Colorado, Kyle. I saw him being tagged on something. I was like, oh, Viking Fiber Company runes. Oh my God, that might work out. Oh my God, that was like, it's all coming together. I was like, okay, it's time. This is the time for me to design this pattern. That's good. Yes, there we go.
Fabulous. And I concur. You have been super duper busy. So tell us about the lovely lavender chamomile tea that is in the Crochet Foundry August issue.
Yes, and thank you, Karen. It is a lot of fun. And yes, Yolanda, I'm glad it all came together too. And yes, they all sound awesome. Shoe Puff Creations. Thank you. Yes, the lavender chamomile tea pun intended, is a T style, and it's like a Henley style. Originally, this was actually a pullover, like a long sleeve pullover that I designed for my husband to wear. So it was actually originally designed with long sleeves with like that Henley style button down, and I wanted it to have kind of the cabling look. And I did it in kind of this like chocolatey brown color in a cotton, and I called it the Morning Mocha because it was brown. Well, then I showed a picture of it to, at the time it was Crystal when she was the creative director. She loved it and was like, we want it for Crochet Foundry. And I was like, of course you do. I just wanted to show you how beautiful this is. And I'm excited. I can't wait to put it out the powder. She's like, no, we're putting it in the magazine. I was like, okay, I guess so. So then we got to talking and it was like, okay, so what issue are we going to put in? She's like, let's put it in like a summer issue. And I was like, but it's a long sleeve. She's like, but it's made of cotton. Could you do a short sleeve version? So I was like, I guess I could. So I had to go back and rework and figure out how do I turn this original long sleeve top down sweater into a short sleeve tee without it looking ridiculous. Like I didn't want it to be like all poofy at the sleeves, which it still kind of has a slight bit of a poof that I couldn't quite get rid of. But I think if you look at it, it looks just like it's a tee. Like it's a tee, just a little bit nicer than just like a tee like you would put on here. And originally the one I designed for my husband was buttons, but then I saw somebody who used toggles for something and I thought that looks pretty cool, so I got some toggles instead. So yeah, there they are. Yeah. But the yoke design itself, like exactly the same. What I love about this is that every size, the number of cables is exactly the same. The only difference is in the increase pattern and the size of the sleeve section. So that way, like you're not having to follow like a bunch of instructions. Like, okay, repeat this cable series 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, 4 times, 8 times. It's like you don't have that list of like all these different repeats. It's just everybody work cable A, cable B, cable A, cable B, cable A, cable B. Then move on to your sleeve instructions. So I try to like separate it out to where it's like each section kind of had its own set of instructions that you followed. And then you just kind of piece together what you did. Yeah, I don't know what else to say much about it. Like if people have like questions. Yeah,
if anybody has any questions specific to the pattern, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will share it. But I just think, first of all, cables, that's first of all. Second of all, look at this sleeve. Can we talk about this sleeve? Like what? Yes. I mean, okay. Like who's doing this besides Kelly? You
So I would okay, so Shoe Puff Creations asked about showing the original sweater. I can go hunt it down here in a moment, and yes, I'll absolutely show you so you can see the start and what it turned into. As far as the cable work, so like the one on the sleeve, that one was my own original cable creation. I cannot claim to have created the original cables themselves because I got, okay, I used a lot of my inspiration comes from this like book of cables that was written by a German woman, and she like has all these beautiful crocheted cables because I was looking for something that was like, I want cables that don't look lumpy and awful. Like I want them to look sleek. I want them beautiful. I want this fun texture that's popping out. And there's so many in there. Like I can never have time to make all of them. However, the ones that I did find, there were actually 2 different ones that I thought looked really good. So I took them and I combined them together and had to kind of rework how they would seam into each other and then create 2 different sets kind of those. So like I was able to take those and kind of piece them together and come up with this pattern that way. So the original, like they would be like 2 or 3 different ones in there. They were all separate different like instructions for how to create these cables. But then I took them and was like, mathematically, how do I take this 12 stitch cable, this 14 stitch cable, and this 16 stitch cable and figure out how to piece them into a yoke that's going to increase or decrease? Yes.
I mean, the amount of detail that you put, amount of detailed thought that you put in your patterns is so impressive. Like, I know I've said that before, but I'm just like, you think about this. Like, it's not just, okay, I want to do this thing and I'm just going to do it. Like, you're thinking about it. I'm following another designer who like, hold on, let me stop sharing. Okay. I'm following another designer who is like amazing. She was in the last issue of Crochet Foundry. She had a spot, she didn't have a design in there. And she was talking about how she now wants to write down her patterns because she really just makes things and has a beautiful daughter who can model her stuff, and she doesn't really write it down. How I know I asked you this before, but like
Mhm.
your process for pattern designing, what comes first? Is it the finished product, like this is what I want it to look like, or are you going step by step and then you have the finished product?
Oh God, that's such a great question. Okay, so sometimes like it'll start with an idea, like a concept that I'm wanting to incorporate into a crochet design, like a story or a myth or like a feeling or like something like that. And so I start thinking, how can that be accomplished using crochet stitches? And what's kind of like the meaning to me by the crochet stitch that I pick? Like, for instance, the herringbone double crochet, it was one, a double crochet, so it's going to be taller, but I didn't want to just do regular double crochet. So when I was talking to my model, he suggested that, and I was like, oh yeah, I think that might look good. And then I thought, well, actually, I think that would work perfectly because like the Scandinavian, like the Old Norse and the Anglo-Saxons, like they were a very seafaring people, and herring are kind of like a huge thing that they source. So I was like, okay, well, I think that that stitch has a lot of connection to this. So there's that. This one with the mocha, I was like, well, Charlie, my husband, really likes coffee. We both like coffee, and I wanted to do something kind of in a chocolatey brown color. And I was like, and I wanted cables that kind of reminded me of like just like those fun like textured patterns like you might see like on a coffee cup or something like that. And so I thought of that and was like, and I didn't want like a big collar. I just wanted like that kind of Henley style, but I did want the buttons. So I start then piecing together what the garment itself is going to look like. And I kind of decide, do I want it to be top down? Do I want it to be bottom up? And so do I want it to be a circular yoke? Do I want it to be raglan style? Do I want it, when it's bottom up, do I want it to be like armholes like this? Or do I want it to be a drop shoulder or something like that? Then from there, I start figuring out, okay, what yarn am I going to use? What size hook am I going to use? And then start making my swatches. And sometimes it might even be like, I'm not thinking of all of that yet. I might see yarn that I'm suddenly in love with. And I see the name of the yarn. And I think, I know what I want to do with that. I want to make this type of sweater, and it's going to bring in this idea of the yarn being like a sea yarn. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to bring in like the idea of like, you know, the ocean or like the Caribbean or something like that, because that's what the color reminds me of. And so then I start thinking, okay, how can I do that? Then I'll look up designs and look at pictures of like the ocean and things like that. I'm like, what can I do with all of that? And then go from there. So sometimes it's like, I'll have an idea first, or sometimes I'll see a color or like a texture or, like a garment that I might see that I'm like, I like that, but here's how I want to put my own spin on it, type of thing. So yeah. So yeah, there's that.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
Yes.
This math teacher here who is like super good at all the math and all the numbers. So it makes
Yes. Yes. And then I love that Catherine just said, I guess you made it in Charlie Brown, because it's like my husband's name is Charlie and I made him a brown sweater. That is perfect. All right. So then to answer a couple of the questions, yes, I am going to show the sweater. And it says, can the tee accommodate boobies for us girls? I have had no issue with any women taking my designs and being able to accommodate them for the chest, because all you really do is when it comes to the split, at the split. So like what you do is you pick the chest size that you want. So it's in men's chest sizes, but it says how many inches around the garment is going to be. So if you think for your bust and how much ease you want in it, you just pick that size and work it. Then when I tell you to work a certain number of stitches before you do the split, that's what you're going to change. You're going to decide, okay, how big around do I want it to go from like the center all the way around to over here? How many stitches does that need to be? And then think, okay, so with my underarm chain, God, so with my underarm chain, where does the underarm chain need to go to kind of center in that spot? And that's where I'm going to do my back stitches. And then my front stitches can all accommodate, because the cables are all going to fit centered either way. So like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Now, what may happen is that the line of that one cable down the sleeve is going to probably shift a little farther back. But if you kind of have like a shorter back area and a bigger front area, that might actually work out because your arms might sit back a little bit farther. So
Right.
that would be the way that I would recommend, like if you wanted to accommodate for a larger chest size and smaller back. I even have a friend, she was like, I'd have to redo it to the opposite. Like I have a bigger kind of like wider back area because she kind of hunches, and she's like, and I've got a really small chest. So she's like, I'd have to move my chains a little bit more forward in order to accommodate the size of my back. So I'm like, that's essentially on a top down split yoke sweater like that. That's how you would accommodate your shape.
That's really good. Thank you for that. I hope that
Of course.
question, Catherine. That was a good one. Thanks for asking. So
Yeah.
how far away is the original sweater for those asking?
I know exactly where it is because he hasn't worn it in a while because it's hot. So I can really go. I can run and go get it quickly. Okay. All right, I'll be right back.
He is going to get the original sweater that is inspired by this lavender chamomile tea, so that he can show the original off. We're really excited. I love having Kelly. He just always educates us, right? He always shares. You guys know that I love hearing origin stories and how people think and how designers come up with their designs and all of that. And he always just has an answer for me. Like he can always explain exactly what his thought process is when he's creating a sweater. And I'm just always intrigued by it. And he's back.
Yes, I am. I told you yes. And thank you, Mrs. Deveter. I could hear everything you were saying. Yes. And I love that. I do try to have an answer for everything if I can. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Right.
All right. There it is.
Let me see if I can make you bigger so that everybody can see you bigger. I don't know how to do it. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, but there they are. So like that's the original cable and all that stuff. And then there are the buttons. They're like all clickety clackety. It's a little like if you unbutton it, it's a little sloppy. So I'm not too big of a fan of that, but it still looks really good and it fits him really nicely. It's like big and comfortable. And then there are like the sleeves, like the ribbing and everything. And it's still got the that textured cable down the side for him and everything. So yeah, so he likes to put this on and wear it like whenever it's cold outside, and he just goes to work and he can just wear it and throw it on. And then he took a picture of it while he was wearing it. It was like, my husband just made me this, and posted on Instagram. And then later when I was told you're going to put it in Crochet Foundry, it was like, I don't know if you need to take that picture down. I was like, I'm not sure. I think he ended up getting to leave it up because I was like, okay, so it wasn't, he didn't say any details about it. He didn't like, it was just him wearing the sweater. And so like, then it got buried in like all of his past things. I like this even better than the short sleeve. Oh, and okay, so that's actually a great thing. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, you can make this tee into a long sleeve like I did. So if you like the long sleeve version more, guess what? It's just adding more stitches. Like you just continue that cable pattern. You can make it a balloon sleeve. You can make it decrease. You'll have to be the one to figure out the decrease pattern. I don't do that for you in this issue. But basically all you do is just kind of like decrease evenly until you get to about the wrist. I'd give yourself maybe like an inch around for your wrist, because then your cuff is going to kind of cinch that in. But yes. So that's what I would say. Like if you really like the long sleeve version of this, you just add more stitches to the sleeve instead of following those instructions where you just do like the 5 or 3 rows rounds that it is.
All right. Well, then there you go, guys. You can make the long sleeve version. Arcane, welcome to our Crochet Foundry Live. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Kelly is amazing, and I'm glad that this was the first time that you came to hang out with us, because he's just an amazing designer and gives us all the good feedback. So welcome to the party. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Kelly, amazing. Like, so exciting. What hook did you use? I think in the pattern it showed an Odyssey, but I'm not sure if that's the hook.
It is. Okay, so I actually have it pulled. It's right here. So let's see. Oh, let's see if I can. There we go. Okay, so this is the size E 3.5 millimeter Odyssey hook. It's in the iris color. And then, of course, I made it with the purple, like the colored yarn. So that's where I was like, well, if I can't call it the morning mocha, it would make no sense with a purple like tea to call it the morning mocha. I was like, what else could I think of? And I was like, well, it's a tea. I was like, I guess I could go with tea because it's like, you know, summer and like people drinking iced tea or whatever is what I'm picturing. I was like, lavender. But I was like, I don't just want to call it the lavender tea. I was like, I want something that reminds them it's tea. Like, so I was like, chamomile is a nice calming tea. So they were like, lavender chamomile tea. And I was like, and all these lavendery, purpley colors. I was like, there we go. Boom, got the name.
Perfect. It all worked out. I love it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Odyssey hooks are in short supply right now. But we love a good Odyssey. But Furls did come out with the new hook last week. The Leo hook. Have you guys seen the Leo hook? Y'all.
I love that color.
Oh my goodness. So I was telling you, Kelly, and I think I posted it on my Instagram, how it makes me think of honey. But then as I was looking at it just now, do you guys remember Jurassic Park? I think it was the first one where he had the
Sorry.
You know what I'm talking about?
You have no idea. Jurassic Park is like one of my favorite movies of all time. Like my best friend and I like are obsessed with it, and like we always send each other these memes about it. So yes, the amber with a mosquito in it that is like on his cane. Yes. Sorry.
Just now, that just to me, I'm like, holy crap! Wait a minute, this is the. So it's just a beautiful hook, you guys. It is absolutely fabulous. It's like see-through, and it's just beautiful. If you have not already put some Leo in your cart, I'm encouraging you to go ahead and get it before they are all sold out, because it's just beautiful, right?
And what I love about this one is that oh yeah, definitely Yolanda. That's a great excuse for him to have to buy you this hook. What I loved about this is that unlike the other like Furls resin hooks, it's intentionally meant to be see-through. Like it's like translucent. So I'm like, where the other ones they're trying to not do that. And I'm like, this one they were like, let's embrace it. Let's just like, it's clear, like you can see through it. Like it's the star. It's unique. It's its own kind, just like how Leos are. So yeah. And they do look like flames, of course, because it's a fire sign. I'm an Aries myself, so I was kind of like, I feel a camaraderie with like other fire signs, but I'm like, Aries, it's always red. And I'm like, that's not my favorite color, but it's always red. And the Aries hook is red, of course, and it's beautiful, and it's all about like war and stuff. And I'm like, but I love the Leo hook. Yeah, it does. It reminds me of honey. It reminds me of the amber. Oh, Sarah, fellow fire sign. Yes, exactly. I may one day do designs with like the zodiac stuff, but I know tons of other designers have already done stuff like that. So I'm like, I might leave that for somebody else. Plus 12 designs in a collection is a lot. I already have ones that are only 4, and it's like.
It definitely is a lot. Maybe you could do hats or something like that. I don't know. I've seen like folks who have done scarves and they've done blankets. I've seen a lot of shawls and things like that with the zodiac signs. But I think it's super cool that we can do that. You know, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
It's true. I'm like, tons of people have done stuff based on the zodiac. It's like, it's not to say like, so nobody else can. It's like, oh yeah, no, Shelby, sorry, we can't. Oh, Chris finally made it.
You made it. I called you out, Chris, just FYI, because I didn't see your name show up. And I was like, well, where's Chris? But here you are. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you're here. You guys, I am just always so excited to chat with great designers like Kelly. And of course, I'm going to give away an issue of the August magazine so that you can see and hopefully work on this fantastic pattern. So for those of you who have been hanging out in the comment section, you don't need to do nothing. I'm just going to scroll, and Kelly is going to tell me when to stop. All right. You ready, Kelly?
Okay. Yes, I am.
All right. I'm scrolling. You tell me when to stop. Now I'm scrolling. And now I'm
stop. Okay.
Oh God!
I didn't do it. Sarah! Yay! Okay, yay! Fellow fire sign! Yay!
Commenting a whole lot today. So congratulations, Sarah. You are the winner of the August issue of the magazine. If you already have the August issue, then we'll just have to bump it up for you to get the September issue. Because email support at crochetfoundry.com, and you will be sent your issue of the magazine. Congratulations, Sarah. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Really excited for all the fantastic and amazing things you are doing, Kelly. And hopefully we get to chat again very, very soon. We've been on for about a half an hour now, and I gotta go. I don't want to
Yeah.
go, but I gotta go.
I understand. Yes. Same. I know, but we all got things to do. So yes, but this has been so great. I want to do this again. I love doing these so much. And okay, I know we're about to leave, but I especially want to talk about the one in the November issue. So definitely keep me in the loop on that one, because I know a lot of people are going to be all about that sweater.
Absolutely. We will definitely have another live in November to talk about the November pattern that you're going to have. And you also have an interview coming out in the blog on the website, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell them a little bit about that. And I think you said it's going up today.
Yes, it is launching today on the Crochet Foundry blog. So if you go to the blog, which if you follow it, I'm sure you know how to get there. If not, Google Crochet Foundry blog or go to crochetfoundry.com, and I'm sure they have their blog link somewhere on there. But my interview will be on there. They send us like a list of questions, and we just like type out our answers to it, and they, like edit as needed for like size or whatever. But like, yeah, then you get to see like all my fun answers to that. Yeah.
Yay! Well, looking forward to that. We will definitely check that out. Have a fantastic remainder of your day. Make sure you drink your water, y'all. Make sure you're exercising and treating your bodies well. Have an amazing day and weekend. Hope you have something fun on your hook, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.